if there was no Hollywood, would it currently be Ashley and Kwame right now?
Definitely.
And I told her she can have this dude, you dig? She can go with him.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is, you know what time it is. Alright, cool. Talking to you guys about Put a Ring on It, dealing with the actual reunion now. We're going to talk about the stuff that actually happened on the reunion. And just kind of break down some of the stuff that was shown to you guys. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe to this channel, and click on that bell button for notifications up loads, baby. And for those of you who are returnees, well, you already know the model. You got the minerals, you got the minerals, you got the minerals. Let's talk about the actual reunion. So I think, obviously, watching the actual reunion, I think one of the first things I want to say is that, listen, Hollywood's feelings of jealousy isn't a problem. Listen, I think jealousy is never really a problem. I know there was a scene where you're talking about, oh, you know, Hollywood's jealousy. I'm like, jealousy is never an issue. The issue is how it's exhibited. How does your jealousy exhibit itself? If it exhibits itself into control, we got a problem. You understand? Like, we all get a little bit jealous of people. We all get a little bit jealous of our partners from time to time. But if that jealousy exhibits itself onto a physical manifestation where you begin to emotionally and physically control someone, then we have a problem.
But this process on the show brought something different out of us.
Jealousy. It's called jealousy.
I told her that. Yeah, I know I got that in me because I've been with...
You know what I'm saying? Why would you not be jealous if your girl was going with somebody else? That make no sense. Like, regardless of the process or not, like, why would we judge Hollywood for being jealous? But then when it comes to Michael being jealous, we're celebrating his growth and that fact that he's finally feeling something. No, it's natural to feel something when your partner's going somewhere. So I don't want to put that onto Hollywood. That for me was wrong when they saw that in the reunion. I said, no, why are we putting that onto Hollywood? That doesn't make no sense. You understand? If we're talking about emotional control, that's different. Then yes, etc., etc. Did Hollywood want to control her aspect of the process? Yeah, but I mean, what he really wanted was that not for her to go mad and get with someone else. That's what he really wanted. I didn't see that as controlling in that respect. You know, I didn't see that part controlling, right? Because what he didn't want is to be hurt, right? What I saw was maybe poor behavior, as I've said before, is the fact that the emotional safety, when she came to tell you stuff, instead of you just kind of listening and understanding that he didn't, because the fear was that she would leave him.
Want it with him. The problem that I have is the instability. Since the show, you know, on the show, he was hot, he was cold, he would pop off at the drop of a dime.
Yeah.
And then off the show,
the insecurity was talking the loudest. When he saw his girl go on a date, what he was assuming was that he would lose her. The scary thing is that jealousy has a self-fulfilling prophecy oftentimes that comes with it. That when you are being jealous oftentimes about the situation, something actually happens from it. It's kind of mad when it happens. And something did happen. Kwame happened. Do you understand? Did he push her to Kwame? No. She was always going to feel that way towards Kwame, and that's something that she has to also own. I think it's too easy to say your behavior pushed me towards Kwame. No. Ashley made her choice. She made a choice. She decided she was going to go to Kwame because she didn't have to. She went on 5 or 6 dates. I thought Michael was bad going on 4 or 5 dates with Whitney, but then he shut it down once he realized what he was getting. The trouble was, one thing that was maybe an influence, but not the deciding factor, was that Hollywood didn't present the emotional safe space for her to come back, and what he was doing was creating a storm. So when she came back, all she was getting was negative press, and then she would want to go back out again to Kwame. Kwame was showing her that heaven is real and I'm coming back to hell every single time. It's not fair. It's not nice. Do you understand? Like, so for her, she was coming back to a place where she made it easier for her to make a decision. But guess what? She would have always made that decision.
And she came on here to make a connection.
I did not.
Well, she didn't come on here to make a connection. She came here and got a connection. In my head, I knew I'm not here to make a connection. And I should have specifically told.
At the end of the day, when you do madness, and you do madness within the form of your relationship, you're the one it's your desire. It's no one else's desire. It's no one else's that you had a desire to do it, so you can't blame anybody else. Can't say that when you're coming back to to the crib. I was a bit mad. No. You have to take a responsibility. That was your side of things. And so he's allowed to feel hurt. I kept on saying this. He's allowed to feel hurt. I don't want to shut down his feelings, because at the end of the day, listen, it's real. When you thought that someone should respect the hidden boundaries and they didn't, it is painful. Regardless whether you said it or not, you had a hidden boundary. And so I do get it. In that respect, I do understand his sentiment. I do understand his feelings of pain. I do understand how, nobody wants to be embarrassed on TV as well, and have your girl who you love and you care for to get into an emotional entanglement with another gentleman. It's true. Nobody wants to have that. So I do get that. But again, I say this again, unfortunately, you're on a show where boundaries are broken all the time.
Dude, you did?
But you knew that was part of this process.
Well, when we got here, yeah.
But you weren't taking it serious. Not one.
The whole point of the whole idea of going on a date breaks boundaries. What person in their right mind would go on a date with or allow their partner to go on dates? Listen to what we're saying. On dates, not to go out with a friend, to go out on dates. That means a date has an intention of getting to know that person. Okay, why allow that person to go on dates when you're in a relationship? So already the show's premise breaks any normal protocol. Therefore, any hidden expectations can't really be existing, because at the end of the day, we're breaking all boundaries of a normal relationship, which were normally unspoken. Who normally says you shouldn't go on dates with somebody who you're in a relationship with? We don't. Who says that? Nobody ever says that in real life. It's a hidden expected rule that society follows as to what a relationship is between two people that's monogamous. It's unsaid. It's expected. You understand? But you went on a show that broke those unexpected rules. So you might have been wanting to be a bit more clearer. Like you said, I probably should have been a bit more clearer. Either way, should have still done what she would have do.
Safe communication.
Any of these guys that you dated, do you still think about them?
Yes, the last one.
Kwame? Mm-hmm. You still think, does he know this, or is this the first time you're hearing it?
Admitted that it was, it must have been scary for him. When Ashley admitted quite brazenly that she had a connection with Kwame, bruv, I don't know what, if my girl told me that she had a connection with another dude, I'd be shattered, bruv. Shattered. And can I be honest? If this was outside of the show and you caught feelings for someone else, you cheated. It's that simple. It's that simple. If this was outside of the show and outside of these norms, you cheated. But because it's inside of the show, don't get twisted. I would have the same expectations of Hollywood. But my next thing will be, I appreciate you. I got to go. Because if you can form an emotional connection with somebody, yeah, then I don't need to be here. I'm not going to fight for your love. No, I'm not ready to do that. No, you should have been fighting in the first place. You should have learned what you need to learn, like Shay did, within reason. Okay, and I should say like Tamika and Vince did. You should have learned your lesson like Tamika did, but you didn't. You went one step further and you fell into a place where you allowed yourself to emotionally connect with a gentleman, and then he kissed you. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And so at that point, you have to say to yourself, you are culpable. You are culpable, and this is where Hollywood's issue is going to come from. If he has to hold her to his standard, right? By saying, "Look, this is my standard. I didn't expect that, but this is also my consequence. I'm not going to be around." Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you keep going on like you're annoyed about the situation, but there's no consequence to what she did, then bro, like you're gonna be going around in circles after circles after circles. Let me be very frank with you. She didn't break your expectation because you stated the expectation was anything but sex. But for you, she broke some level of boundaries for you, right? And yes, they were single. Although they were saying they were single, they weren't really single, but they were single. If you feel that's a breaking of your boundary, you walk. You walk. You don't offer the ring. You walk. If you're seething and you're angry about this kiss situation, you don't offer the ring in this situation because it's a violation, right, of a relationship. You don't offer a ring. That's also Hollywood's angle too. I gotta say for him, don't offer the ring. Don't offer the ring because it's not sorted yet. It's a big issue. The kid situation is a big issue. The emotional connection with Kwame is a big issue. It's not sorted out yet. You can't be getting engaged while you're, and here's the thing. If Hollywood is saying that he felt like they were still in a relationship and she done this, then bro, why would you offer a ring after?
I told her I was gonna wait for her. I ain't had no problem waiting. But if you ain't feeling it, don't have me sitting here lingering around.
Bear in mind, my girl's got emotional connection with Kwame. Bear in mind, he kissed her. Bro, at that point, is it not normal to say, actually, I'm not going to offer you a ring too? Do you see why I say that this thing, yeah, it goes both ways in the sense of the fact that, listen, sometimes you just got to put people out their misery, blood. Yeah? And your boundary and your protocols, yeah, your procedures save you. Yeah, because if you're saying that it's more than it's not a show, it's real life for you, Hollywood, in terms of boundaries and expectations that would carry on from a normal relationship, then she's violated. She's cheated then, bro, to you. And in that regard, you've got a decision to make. Do you want to go and get married to somebody who's just cheated on you? Do you know what I mean? It's a big question. And so, you know, the one thing that's also very interesting is that Ashley mentioned this on the show, but she's also mentioned it to me, I guess, on an interview as well. Sorry, on an interview. She mentioned it to me in an interview when we did it solo one. Is that behind the scenes, the behavior is still abysmal. So the behavior is still, he's seething, he's angry, he's frustrated, and some emotional instability happens not just on the screen, it happens off the screen. So it's at that point, the person doesn't feel safe. Because it's like, you're not just doing it on screen, you're doing it off screen too. And people, we can't see the off screen part. So for her, she's feeling like the emotional stability, she can't move forward. This is what she said. Without the emotional stability, she can't move forward. Okay. And so when Hollywood talks about, obviously, but when there's a situation between Kwame and Hollywood and Ashley, where Hollywood said, you know what, if this, you know, beforehand I would have got up and slapped the dude, why? Why would you slap him? That's problematic, bro. Not the slap itself. It's the fact that you would slap him when he's not the problem.
How did he not see that before?
Yeah, we.
No?
I didn't, because I honestly, I ain't want to see the episode, because back in the days, honestly, I would have got up and slapped the out this dude for that.
Hello.
I'm just being straight up.
That wasn't a kiss. It was just a
was a
pineapple
kiss.
exchange.
Ashley's the problem, which is a false diagnosis, which again pinpoints to the point that you're displacing actually your actual feelings. You're not actually being true to your feelings, because your truest sentiment and feelings are towards Ashley. It's not towards Kwame. Kwame hasn't done anything. Kwame has done what the show instructed him to do. Form a connection, and if it's real, it's real. Man ain't disrespect to Hollywood. Listen, as far as Hollywood's concerned, even if Kwame's pushing him on Ashley, my brother, he's got no loyalty towards you. Why should he respect your boundary? Do you understand? Why should he respect your boundary? He doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Your beef is with the person who's within the boundary. Ashley, don't displace your anger, moving it from Ashley to Kwame. That's a false diagnosis. You understand? And it actually shows that you're unable to be able to express fully your actual sentiments of anger towards Ashley. Do you understand? And when I say anger, in a way that we're not talking about in a way that is abusive, in a way that is conducive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be angry and sin not, as the Bible says. You understand? And also added to that as well, when Ashley talks about the exchange of kiss and thing, that is a big indication that the person is dismissive. Right? And trying to get away with murder. Because if it be so that, you know, it's also an admission of guilt. If the expectation was that she could do anything but have sex with the person, okay, then she hasn't done anything wrong. Then why would you change it from a kiss to an exchange? Why would you want to call it an exchange? Because there's an admission of guilt, because you're scared that if you admit it was a kiss, you'd feel like you'd be wrong.
It was just a
was a
pineapple
kiss.
exchange.
It was a kiss.
I think it was an exchange. What about you, Kwame? You think it was exchange?
I don't think you want to know what I got to say.
Do you understand? Right? So that's an admission of guilt when you change it. Because when you asked Kwame, and he said, you wouldn't want to know my opinion. And she's like, oh, okay. You know exactly what it is, Ashley. You can't call it anything else. So when you change it, it's actually showing that there's an admission of guilt there. That's the reason why you're changing it, because you're trying to lower the impact of what you've done. Because you know there's an impact. Yeah, and also part of her as well will feel like she doesn't want to hurt Hollywood. So if it's an exchange rather than a kiss, it's not as bad. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so I can understand that. I can understand that point of view as well. But most of it, I think, is a deference of there's a dismissiveness of the guilt that she feels in regards to the fact that she broke some level of unexpected protocol. Okay, yeah, and the protocol always says, well, you know, she wasn't necessarily going there to premeditatedly connect to someone, but she was opportunistic, and when she did find someone, she really connected, and unfortunately, it turned into that. You know what I'm saying? So she played a little bit with the danger and played a little bit of fire.
I told her I was gonna wait for her. I ain't had no problem waiting. But if you ain't feeling it, don't have me sitting here lingering around.
Not ready to get married at this time, and he said he doesn't mind waiting and giving her room. And here's my thing: I've been in situations where it's like the person's not sure, and you have to make a choice between A and B. All right? Hollywood said, "Oh, I've given her the opportunity to choose you. If she wants to go with you, go with you, innit?" And I'm like, I don't think that's her actual choice. Her actual choice isn't Kwame or Hollywood. Let me make it very frank. Her actual choice has never been Kwame or Hollywood. Her actual choice is single or Hollywood. Kwame just helps to make her understand that being single is cool. Her choice is not Kwame or Hollywood. You can't jump from one relationship to another relationship. If she's wise enough, actually I believe she is, that is not something you're gonna do. You're not gonna jump from Hollywood to Kwame. It wouldn't be wise. You need time to heal. Right? But when you give someone that much room to make a decision about whether they want to go forward or not, I'm gonna be frank with you. If it's not a yes, it's a no. Yeah? Oh, I'm ready to go forward if... Nah. It's a no, bruv. You understand? It's a no, bruv. Yeah? Her unsurety is coming from the fact that she doesn't believe in her hearts of hearts that Hollywood can change in enough time. Because obviously, like I said, the emotional stability, the emotional maturity, emotional safety is quintessential for her, right? Everything else is great, but that part of her makes her scared. Without that, she can't move forward, right? What she's saying is, I've set a new standard. I cannot go into a marriage with that happening. Yeah? You know, so... she's not moving unless she gets that. That's what she said, right? And I personally believe that she probably won't go forward with this. And reason being, because, like I said, if it's not a yes, it's a no. Whenever someone's not sure, it's because there's been interference. The interference is Kwame, yes, but he promotes a bigger symbiology. It's not Kwame himself that is the problem. The problem is that he's opened her eyes, like Eve did with the fruit. And at that point, it's impossible to close the eyes. And at that point, she's gonna need him for Hollywood to actually get to the space of emotional safety, or she can't go forward ever at all. And in that time, she's actually biding her time. The reason why, and the question obviously we'll ask is, why take the ring? I honestly, I think one, didn't want to hurt his feelings.
But this is really to cut to the heart of it. You proposed to her. Mm-hmm. Did you say yes to him because you were ready? Or did you say yes to him because you didn't want to hurt his feelings or have some level of embarrassment on the show?
2, part of her wants to be married to Hollywood. But 3, you know, I guess I know in part 3, but the opposition to the marriage is, like I said, she's got doubts. But she took it because she wanted to save his face, and also as well, part of her wants to get married. It's just that she understands that something isn't quite right. And when your gut instinct is telling you that something's not quite right, y'all better know, you better listen. You better listen. So here's my kind of resolutions. Take a break. Give yourselves a month. No sex, nothing like that. Stay away from each other. Yeah? Give yourself time to think. Okay, when you give yourselves time to think, it allows you to really understand whether you really want to be in this relationship and you want to go forward with strength, or whether you just been kind of holding on. Okay, that break also gives you time to think for oneself and allows you to decompress from the situation and get a much more well-rounded view, because now you're not using too much emotion to bias your view. Okay, you know, there's a scripture that comes from Matthew 5 verse 1 where Jesus says to the disciples, "Come up." yeah, come up the mountain, yeah. And this is where he releases the Beatitudes. Now this is very important. Why didn't he do the Beatitudes where everybody was down on the ground? And the reason why is because there was too much noise, and there was too many eyes, and there were too many people that were general. But he wanted to get deep, and he wanted to get real with them. And so sometimes you have to remove yourself from the multitude. That means taking yourself sometimes from the relationship, which is making a lot of noise, and taking yourself to someone where very quiet, so you can actually begin to hear your actual true thoughts. Sometimes a relationship through sex and through the constant connection that you guys have by communicating emotionally, physically, mentally, all the kind of things, they create noises, and they create clutter and make it very hard to hear true thoughts. Right? And so very much like when you're trying to find something in a room, let's say you were trying to find your favorite shorts, but you found another pair of shorts, you might stop looking for the favorite shorts and go for the normal shorts simply because the room is too cluttered. And that's what can happen in a relationship. Sometimes you can just go after, you know what, I'll allow it. I won't listen to I won't try to find the true thoughts because it's too hard to find it at the moment. I'll surrender that and go with what I already know. And this is where they may be in a relationship. And here's the final thing, golden balls. If you ever watched the show Golden Balls, at the very, very end, they had to choose to steal or to share. If one person chose steal, another person chose share, they would go home with nothing. If they both said share, they'd go home with something. If it's not a yes, it's a no.